Puccini's last opera was Turandot, and sadly he never lived to finish it. It's still thought of as one of his greatest works. It's set in ancient times in China, in the city of Peking. There, the Princess Turandot has set a challenge to anyone who wants to seek her hand in marriage. They must answer 3 questions, and if they fail, they'll have their heads chopped off. Princess Turandot has already seen off a fair proportion of the local royalty and nobility, and it hasn't dissuaded another young prince, Prince Calaf, who's come in from Tartary, to make a bid for her hand. Calaf is accompanied with his old and blind father and with his faithful servant, Liu, one of the most beautiful and touching portraits of a woman that Puccini was ever to write. Liu and the old father argue with Calaf to stop him going forward for the challenge. They've already seen the execution of the Prince of Persia, and they know that Turandot is merciless. 3 court officials, called Ping, Pang and Pong, come in and again try and persuade Calaf not to go forward with this attempt at the challenge. They've already seen far too many funerals, and they haven't had yet a chance to prepare wedding ceremony. But Calaf goes forward and strikes the gong, which is his method of signalling his willingness to take part in the competition. And we then find ourselves watching Ping, Pang and Pong sitting in their office and working out the details of the next trial, and hoping and wishing that they could go back to their own country retreats and not have to superintend the execution of quite so many fine young men. It's halfway into the opera before we see Turandot, and at this point she comes forward in great ceremonial to set the 3 questions and challenge Calaf to answer them. Calaf manages to win the competition. He answers all 3 questions correctly, but Turandot turns to her father and asks to be let off being married to this unspeakable foreign barbarian, and Calaf, who's a gentleman as well as a nobleman, says that if she can guess his name before day breaks, then she can have him executed. If not, he'll marry her. And so he sings, of course, that great aria, Nessun dorma, as the city sleeps and as he waits for Turandot to guess his name. She fails, and she's a bad loser. And she has poor Liu tortured to the point of death to try and get the servant to reveal her master's name. And what is, I think, the thing that made it so difficult for Puccini to finish the opera is that we have to be persuaded that Calaf, who's already had one woman sacrifice himself for her love and devotion to him, turn to the icy princess and clasp her warmly in his arms. Ma il mio mistero è chiuso in